From Brian Schaffer simply vanishing off the earth, to Natalie Holloway never being seen again by her family, let's dive into cases of people who vanished like they were never born. As scary as it sounds, guys, some people just seem to disappear off the face of the earth without a single trace, leaving behind nothing but questions. I mean, take for example the mysterious case of Brian Schaffer. This one sent shockwaves all over the world. But before I talk about his disappearance, let me give you guys a quick rundown of who Brian was as a person. According to his parents, Schaffer was a responsible and loving son who worked day and night to attend Ohio State University. As a second-year medical student, he had his whole life planned out. That is, until the eerie night of April 1st, 2006. You see, Brian, like any other kid his age, was out with his friends, William and Meredith Reed, partying and celebrating the start of spring break. They were bar hopping all over the area when they decided that Columbus's ugly Tuna Saloona was going to be the final stop. But what Brian's friends didn't know was that this was the last time they would see Schaffer alive. I don't know about you, but just saying this sends chills down my spine. After they lost each other in the bar, both William and Meredith left the place when it closed, simply thinking that their friend went home. But hold on, it gets even more crazier, people. Since his disappearance date was April 1st, everyone thought Brian was just pulling an epic April Fool's prank. Yep, nobody took his disappearance too seriously. But when Brian didn't show up the next few days and missed his flight to Miami, that is exactly when all hell broke loose. The police started investigating and discovered something odd. Turns out, an entrance camera showed Brian entering the bar around 1:15 a.m., but not leaving. Not only that, but another camera showed that he didn't slip out of an emergency exit either. It was even later on revealed that every single person in that bar was seen leaving, including Schaffer's friends, but just not him. I mean, it was like the medical student vanished into thin air. The footage was reviewed again and again, but the police had no answers. Still, his girlfriend refused to give up and would call his phone every night. Normally, the call would go straight to voicemail, but once, 6 months after his disappearance, the call actually went to ring. You'd think that would mean Brian was still alive, right? Nope, wrong. The police investigated the whole thing and brushed it off as a glitch. Such a pity. To this day, Brian's disappearance continues to haunt the city of Columbus, serving as a reminder of the exact horrors that can consume a person. Speaking of horrifying reminders, it only makes sense to talk about the disappearance of Madeleine McCann. I am not even exaggerating when I say that. This case kept everyone awake at night, all because no one had seen this unimaginable horror coming. You see, back in May 2007, the sweet young girl vanished from her vacation home. Madeleine was on holiday with her parents at the resort of Praia da Luz, Portugal. Her parents decided to leave her and her other siblings in their rooms while they wined and dined with some of their friends. Now, Madeleine's parents made sure they kept checking up on their kids after every half hour until 10 p.m. But it was during the last check that her mother started shouting hysterically. Turns out her 3-year-old daughter wasn't in her room anymore. Madeleine was gone, and the window was wide open. All that was left behind was silence. After this discovery, the small Portuguese town went crazy looking for her, but to no luck. The sweet child was nowhere to be found. The case caught the attention of the media immediately. People were dying to know if the whole thing had been a kidnapping or an accident, or if something even more horrifying was at work. Right off the bat, the parents were suspected of foul play, but then no evidence was found to incriminate them. What's worse is the fact that other than the parents, the authorities had no one else to suspect. But all that changed in 2020 when the German authorities announced that they were interviewing a suspect, Christian Bruckner, who was in Portugal at that time. Yet again, due to the lack of evidence and the fact that there was nothing to connect him to the scene of the crime, they wrapped up their investigation without any answers and just more questions. After all this time, McCann's parents still hope that they will once again be reunited with their daughter. To this day, Madeleine's whereabouts remain a troubling mystery. Her disappearance sent a chilling reminder to the rest of the world about just how fragile life can be. But wait, there's more. The Asha degree case. And before I start, let me just warn you guys that by the end of the video, you'll be left scratching your head. In the early hours of February 14th, 2000, Asha strapped on her backpack and walked out of her parents' apartment without a word or even a letter of explanation. To this day, nobody knows the whereabouts of the 9-year-old or why she even left in the first place. And get this, around 4 a.m. that same night, someone driving a truck saw a girl walking along the highway with a backpack. When the driver went close to check up on her, Asha ran towards the woods, and that was the last time anyone saw her. When her mother came in the morning to give her kids a bath, she found Asha's bed empty. It didn't take the couple long to contact the police immediately. The FBI and hundreds of volunteers worked together to try and find the child, but there was simply not a trace of her anywhere. Her family was ruled out as suspects early on. After all, Asha's family was a happy one. But nobody can figure out what could have compelled Asha to leave her home, her family, and her whole life behind in the dead of the night. Plus, just 18 months later, a discovery deepened the mystery and confirmed that the child had been a victim of foul play. Buried in a construction site with plastic wrapping, her backpack was found. Pretty chilling, right, guys? The contents included some clothes, her parents' contact number, and a shirt that didn't belong to her or her brother. Could this get any more suspicious? Her parents still believe their daughter is out there somewhere and are still out there raising awareness about her. Now, for our last case in this video, I will be talking about Natalee Holloway's disappearance. She was a bright, young woman celebrating her achievements when her life was cut cruelly short by someone. It all happened in 2005. Natalee, who was just 18 years old at the time, decided to go on a high school graduation trip to Aruba, along with all of her other friends. But this joyous occasion immediately turned into a terrifying plunge of the unknown. On May 30th, during the late hours of the night, Natalee was last seen leaving a bar in Aruba called Carlos and Charlie's. Yep, 3 men also left with her, including Joran van der Sloot. That is exactly when the nightmare started. The next day, when Natalee didn't return to her room, her classmates immediately contacted her family and the authorities. The whole island became part of an intense investigation. Natalee's family and the police searched for all over the place, looking for any sort of clue, but there was nothing. The 3 men who Natalee left the bar with were questioned again and again, but all 3 gave different accounts on how the horrifying night went down. Yet, all of them agreed that when the teenager left them, she was well and alive. But the mystery grew deeper. Joran kept changing his statement until the whole investigation turned into a game of cat and mouse. Days turned into weeks and weeks turned into months, yet Natalee has never been found. Beth Holloway has sought for only one thing. For the last 19 years, answers about what happened to her missing daughter. I hope you guys found this journey into the unknown as terrifying as I did. And a word of advice to you people: always stay safe, be curious, and never stop seeking the truth. That's it from my side today, guys. And do comment down and let me know what you guys think. Which disappearance is more horrifying? Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Until next time, my fellow horror addicts.